Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady checking in with a weekly garden tour. It's the end of February and here in Central North Carolina, everything is looking absolutely spectacular. So without further ado, let me turn this camera around so that you can get an up-close view. Well, you'll never go wrong planting several hundred daffodils. That's certainly exemplified in this front cottage garden border right now. Now, this is the earliest these have ever flowered, but I am certainly not complaining. They definitely give great definition to the edges, which is exactly what I was aiming for when I planted these several years ago. Now, I've got big plans to take on this border this afternoon, so you have to be sure to tune in as I continue to post videos. I'm going to be transplanting a bunch of the bachelor buttons from here out into the wave to make the wave look a bit more interesting than it does. Now remember, I'm only transplanting bachelor buttons, not poppies and larkspur. In my experience, poppies and larkspur have a much more difficult time with transplanting, which is why I always recommend that you direct seed those. In contrast, bachelor buttons don't develop a taproot. So again, for instructions on exactly how to do that, be sure to stay tuned and subscribe so that you can see when that video goes live. As we walk across the front here, I have a lot of weeding to do, but you know what? Those weeds will be here when I get back. They'll just be larger and that much easier to pull, right? And of course the phlox that we mowed down last month is all really starting to grow again. This is precisely why here in the Southeast you have to do some of your cutbacks earlier than what some of the resources online recommend. It's just that our plants break dormancy really early. And I can't not stop at the October Affair, which has honestly, I think this has been the best year that I've ever had for this. 13 years being planted. I did get the camellias all sprayed with oil and made a video about that. Scale is starting to be pretty active right now, and that's a best practice to keep your camellias scale free. Of course, I have a million more hellebores to bloom or to pick. Aiden and Abby have orders to make floating flower arrangements in my absence because again, we're trying to prevent these from self-seeding. And I just want to show you, I never get all of them, but I've been pretty diligent the last few years. But you can see here are fresh seedlings from last year. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and pluck them all because hellebores really can become on the borderline of being invasive. And I don't want to be cultivating plants that will cause environmental disturbance. But I also like them and I have them and I'm not going to throw them away. So we're going to make art out of the blooms instead of seeds, and we eliminate the invasive quality. Well, for the 5th week in a row, these crocuses just won't stop. They are so wonderful. I think this year my appreciation for crocus has increased exponentially just because of this one little clump. I'm going to mark it on my calendar for next fall. I need to order a bunch more and plant crocus in mass. And coming around into the backyard, lots of daffodils are in bloom. They are so cheerful and wonderful. This feed tank here is doing great. The cats have really been enjoying eating the oat grass. You can see great germination on those giant poppies. So I'm excited to see this when it all comes out into flower later this spring. And just like out front, you can really see the phlox has broken dormancy. It's already starting to flush and grow. Again, you can't always trust the information that you find online about best times for cutbacks because a lot of that information is meant for people living in the north. And they have a very different climate than we do here in the southeast. Now, I am really pleased with how all of these cottage gardens are looking. You can see the plants have bulked up so much so quickly. Lots of California poppies in here. The Allium schubertii have gotten really nice and large. The mustard is beautiful. I think when the mustard blooms yellow, the California poppies are orange, and then the Allium schubertii are kind of a pinkish purple. This is gonna be a bit gaudy, but that's exactly what I'm aiming for. And this, I think, is probably the border I'm most proud of. It has the best ground plane coverage, has the most diversity of what's represented. And let's just get down on our hands and knees and show you specifically what's growing in here. All right, we've got garlic. We have mustard. We have kale. We have nigella right here. We have a million poppies. It's going to be so gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Now, we've also got lupins. Look at those beautiful plants. Now, I see California poppy right here. I bet there are Reese poppies in here too, that I'm just not seeing. There's crimson clover right here. And there's larkspur right here, if I can get out of the shadow. There we go. Here's larkspur. You can see really nice, dense, almost no open space whatsoever, and that's always what my aim is. I did weed this a few weeks ago, and I'm sure there's still chickweed woven in, but I'm just not going to pay attention to it. This is the time to appreciate the effort that you've put in, not micromanage it. And overall, I think the good certainly outweighs the bad in this border. Well, I haven't been giving this bed much love until recently. I'm really pleased to see that the fall planted celery has bounced back after that cold snap. And I've got leeks actively growing. And this week I went ahead and added sweet white onions and shallots. So they are all mixed together with the leeks. So this is really going to be an allium bed. I'm really excited to be able to share updates with you on this culinary project. I've also gone around and sprayed all the camellias with animal repellent, specifically deer repellent, because the deer are devouring my plants. My one-sided cattle fences are definitely not doing the trick. They are eating all the cabbage. So I've basically given up on that crop there. And over into this border, again, most of this is self-sown, and I'm really pleased with how this is looking. This is going to be really gorgeous with so much larkspur planted in here. Now, I am having to do a lot of watering. We are really dry. We don't have much rain in the forecast while I'm away. And these newly seeded areas, I don't want those seedlings to dry off or dry out. So we're having to drag some hoses and do a lot of watering, but we've got good germination so far, specifically of the spicy greens mix. And I, really am anticipating that this area is going to be beautiful for the spring open garden. So we're going to put the little bit of extra effort into keeping this all watered by hand. Quick preview, I'm going to be planting potatoes this afternoon when Aiden gets out of school. So stay tuned for a video all about planting potatoes in containers. It's one of my favorite activities. Well, I didn't make any progress on my gravel project in the last week because I came home from Miami with food poisoning. It was awful, specifically from bad oysters. And David picked up RSV while we were there and has been deathly sick all week long, running a fever for 6 days straight. And I've been trying to avoid him because I don't want to pick up his germs and be sick when I go to South Africa. I swear winter is so stupid and I hate germs. And I wish that we could all just wear masks, or I just wish our faces would adapt to have a flap over all of our face holes so we wouldn't share germs so easily. But I'm still really excited about the progress that we have made. And I was aiming to try and have this all graveled for a tour that we have coming on March 15th. It's a busload of awesome gardeners coming in from Tennessee. My good friends Troy Martin and Jason Reeves are leading the group, and they're coming here. And I was really hoping to have this so that we could have like mimosas out in the back 40, but I don't think that I'm gonna get that much more gravel spread between now and then. But you know, it's good to have goals, right? And overall, I haven't made a lot of progress in the woods. I don't think I'm gonna bother weeding. Those are all winter weeds. It's very dry though, which is concerning. I'm not watering back here. Fingers crossed we actually do get some rain in the next couple of days. Just because I'd like for those trilliums to get moist so that they'll break dormancy. Dennis and I planted like several hundred, and I'd really like for them to look as good as they possibly can this spring. I'm not going to talk too much about the Edgeworthy and the camellias because I've got a video that is all about the flowers in the garden. So I'll just leave you with that teaser so that you'll have a cool video to look forward to. It's going to post on the last day of February, which this year is leap year. Woohoo! We get an extra day. And as I said that, did I say that right? Because it doesn't really make sense. Shouldn't it be the years that you skip the 29th? Those should be considered leap years. And this is the year that we actually have all the dates. I don't think I really understand the concept of how that gets vocalized. All right, I see a cute little knoll that I want to show you hanging out here in the Whoa Nelly Ilex cornuta. All right, I'm gonna zoom in. It's so cute. That's a pretty good spot to hang out for a happy lizard. Well, over here along the greenhouse, you could see all of these cauliflowers are doing great. Ooh, look at here, you guys. Oh my gosh, that might be dinner tonight. That's a nice big one. No frost damage on it. Oh, wow, that's exciting. I did plant some shallots and onions back there, and actually, I'm probably gonna go ahead and no, I'm gonna leave these because I did get a bunch of broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage sown in the greenhouse. And when those germinate and start to grow, I'll be able to transplant them out into these pots. And then as I harvest more cabbage and cauliflower, I'll have room in these 100-gallon root pouches to start transplanting more of that spring crop. Well, you can see the arugula has really bolted, hence its name Rocket. It's in full bloom. And of course I love that because this will all self-sow and I'll have a whole nother crop of arugula to be able to harvest this spring. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this weekly garden tour, and I certainly look forward to sharing more updates once I get back home from my big adventure in South Africa. And don't worry, I'm planning on making videos while I'm there. I'm just unsure of how good of an internet service I'm gonna have as I'm traveling. So I figured I can make those videos and I can post them once I get back home where I know I have really strong Wi-Fi. Well, everybody, I'm wishing you the very best. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Happy gardening.